Hey everybody, it's Rachel or Dolly Discourse, and today we're doing something a little bit different with the video. I have my face here on camera. The reason for that is I'm just talking about things and I thought it would be the best format to do this in. I didn't have enough B-roll to fill it up without my face here, and it's just kind of a chatty video, so we're doing this for the first time, so I hope it goes okay. But I'm going to be talking about why I largely didn't buy dolls in the whole year of 2024. Basically why I took a step back from collecting a little bit. And this is by no means saying I've left the community or that I'm not interested in dolls anymore. In fact, I am still really interested, but it turned out that I just didn't buy very many for a whole year. And so I'm gonna get into the reasons why I stepped back and why I just didn't bring dolls into my collection. So there's a few reasons, and as I was writing down notes for this video, I realized that all the reasons sort of tied into each other, and like it was a perfect storm of reasons why I wasn't buying dolls. So let's get into it. So number one, and importantly, I simply didn't like a lot of the dolls that came out this year. I think that's like a very simple reason. It makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna buy a doll that I don't like. And so this year it seemed like release after release was types of dolls that I just didn't resonate with as much as I used to. So one example for a brand that did that, or that had dolls that I didn't like, was some of the Monster High collectors. Like, I really like this collector line, and normally it's like something that I always buy, but there were a couple I wasn't interested in, such as Hocus Pocus collectors. Yeah, I was disappointed in these. I mean, I'm not a fan of the movie anyways, but like then I saw these and I thought the outfits were like an eyesore compared to the face molds. The faces were great, but the outfits were not it whatsoever, and it wasn't something I was willing to spend the money for at all. I didn't even buy the Fang Vote Genifier. Sorry to say, aesthetically, the color scheme just wasn't my personal taste, and I thought she was looking a little bit busy. Now, I totally understand that people think she's like the best Monster High doll to exist, and I completely respect that because she's designed great. She's so detailed and intricate, but to me, there's like a fine line between detailed and intricate and like too busy with things that don't quite match, and with like plastic pieces that aren't my favorite thing. So I just didn't resonate with even that Genifier. What other collectors were disappointing this year? Because I feel like there were more. Oh yeah, the Squid Game Young Hee doll. I haven't even seen the show, and the doll just wasn't as like horror themed as I like. I just didn't resonate with that doll, didn't buy it. Another big part of why I didn't buy as many dolls during like especially the beginning of the year is because personally I was away out of state from my parents' house at an internship. So I was doing an internship for the first 4 months of the year. There I was living in like housing that was provided for the interns. So when you live in that situation, you're not gonna like buy dolls and like bring them there to the intern housing because it's a temporary living situation, and because I was going to be flying home. So of course I'm not gonna buy any dolls or like ship them to that place. So if I did buy a doll, it would be one that I needed immediately because it was limited edition, and that usually only happened with Mattel Creations. And then if I did buy it, I would have to ship it to my parents' house where it would have to stay there waiting for me. Because yeah, as an intern, I just had to step back from buying every new doll. It only was like in an emergency, AKA in a Mattel Creations release. So the only two I remember buying during that time were the Creature from the Black Lagoon collector and the Fang Club exclusive operetta, which I know a lot of people think that one is kind of random or forgettable, but for some reason, once I saw her in-box design, I was like, okay, I actually really want her. I really like that display, it's cute. And I was very happy with her when I got her. But yeah, those are the only two that I made sure to buy on Mattel Creations during that entire 4-month internship. So basically from January to May, those are the only two dolls I bought. And the only reason I had to buy them right away was because it was a limited edition release. So that sort of was getting into like the scarcity thing, but I'm not gonna talk about that yet. I'm still gonna keep talking about the dolls that came out last year that I just didn't like. So another brand where that was a huge thing is Rainbow High, of course. Rainbow High is a brand that I used to collect occasionally. Like, I didn't buy everything, but I bought all the dolls I personally really liked, like certain characters that I thought were pretty. Some of them were not even like alternative or goth, they were just ones I liked. So like Simone, Daria, but then I also really like Shadow High a lot. So Uma, Heather. I just like picked the ones that like spoke to me, basically. Needless to say, in 2024, none of them spoke to me anymore at all. Like it was just over and canceled for that. So I was like not buying those, so that takes away an entire collection there. So at this point, because of like life circumstances, I'm only buying like what's really important, and I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy something I simply don't care about, like especially like just to support a dying brand. Nah, no need to do that. I'll just like let them die in peace, I guess you could also say LOL OMG is another one, like where there wasn't anything that came out that I needed. I consider my OMG collection to be totally complete now. I have basically all the like alternative ones, and I think I'm pretty much done, and I don't think anything else is gonna come out ever. So that collection is complete. So yeah, it kind of just chilled out with the things that I really needed, or that I felt like I needed for what was actively coming out, Okay, I think that covers that topic pretty well, so I'm gonna get into the second reason, which is I no longer was feeling FOMO and a scarcity mindset about dolls last year. So I think these two things go hand in hand. It's that feeling where you need to get a doll immediately, or you think you're gonna miss out. I think it's partially due to inconvenience or financial reasons, but that feeling left my body in regards to dolls. So I no longer felt like I needed to get them right away. I sort of already touched on that with only buying certain limited releases, but not buying playline releases. I think all doll collectors relate to this feeling of FOMO. Like a lot of us buy dolls quickly was we see other people getting it and we like it and we want it right away. But the reality is we don't need to do that with playline dolls at all. Like they stay on shelves for months and months. For example, at the beginning of 2024, you're still seeing like that very first core wave of Monster High G3, like that Dracula, like you're still seeing it there. It just goes to show like it'll go on sale later, like it's not that serious. And since I personally wasn't in a place where I was just going to stores often and buying dolls often, I just shelved those needs and those G3 wants for later, basically. So there were definitely like several playline G3 dolls that I liked. I was always keeping up with the leaks and with the news, but I didn't go buy them immediately. So for example, I was like, oh, I like that Fearbook Twyla. I want her in the future for sure. Same with Spectra, same with certain core refresh dolls like Cleo and Dracula, but I just wasn't buying them. It's crazy. I just kind of stopped. I just knew I had time, knew it wasn't important, and I was still getting my life figured out in other ways. I was doing internships. I didn't have a lot of money, and so those were just not a priority for me. Finally, though, at the end of last year, I did finally get that core refresh Dracula that I had been wanting pretty much the whole year. And yeah, she was still in stores, no problem. So yeah, I am in a place now where I'm going to start buying dolls again a little more frequently. I'm still gonna try to not get into cycles of overbuying, obviously, but I'm back to hopefully buying a few more dolls this year. And then, as I've already mentioned several times, because of course these reasons are all interconnected, financial is just a huge reason to take a step back from buying dolls if you're not in a place to do so. I mean, it's no secret that like doll collecting is a huge strain on the budget. It's one of the most like luxury items that one might buy like during a trip to the store. It's like expensive, and especially if you get into these cycles of buying a lot, it just takes a serious toll, and it's something to look at and think about and take a step back from sometimes. And I, first of all, was on an intern budget. Then when I came home during the summer, was on an unemployed budget. I was unemployed for this entire summer, so obviously I don't have the spare funds to be buying dolls in ways I used to. It's pretty simple. I'm sure we all can relate to that. I still always like kept up with the news, and if it was something that I really, really needed, for like literally the only example would be a Skeletor doll, something that you only have one chance, then I would make it work, but still I needed to mentally like think about things harder before buying, and so I just was not buying anything. That includes like less eBay hauls. Like that's something that I used to do in this channel, is buy random dolls from eBay, like obscure ones, and talk about them, and that was fun. But I wasn't into that anymore either last year, sadly, because that just takes extra money and extra eBay searching, and it's like certain things you just don't really need. unfortunately. Like, you have to think about it and take a step back. Yeah, I also just found less exciting listings on eBay in general, I think. Maybe because I already have collected a lot of these random lines that I like, and now it's to the point where I can't get any more without spending an arm and a leg, so I just like was less interested in a lot of eBay listings. Like, I've completed a lot of my la-di-das. I've gotten enough cheap BGOS, and I'm not gonna get any more cheap BGOS because they're all so expensive. Moxie teens, like, I have all the ones that are affordable, you know, now it's just gonna be crazy expensive to get any more. So like, even eBay and Mercari listings weren't even exciting me, especially in the financial position I was in. So the good news about that unemployment is that it finally ended. So as of the end of last year, I did get a job, I did move out. So a lot of things are changing in my life. I'm now in a new apartment, I'm not in my parents' house, and unfortunately that doesn't mean that I can immediately buy a bunch of dolls because I'm still poor, you guys. Like, the job doesn't pay me that much, and I am paying the fees of moving and having a new apartment. So I'm still a little like broke about that. So like, I'm not gonna be able to buy a lot, but I am getting back into it. I've been really interested in the community lately. I've been watching more YouTube. Like, I'm excited to get back into things and be able to buy myself a couple more dolls this year, including like the Playline ones I've been wanting to catch up on, occasional like eBay treats, stuff like that. So I am hoping to get back into this channel more in 2025. And since I do have this entire apartment, I can start creating and curating my own collections in my own space. I have more space for that now. When I was in my parents' house, I had all my dolls in my bedroom, and they're still there, to be honest, because I wasn't able to move everything here because I flew like across the country. So those dolls are safe and sound there, but here I'm starting to create new space and create a new collection here. I still have the old ones, and I'm still going to bring those here eventually. Like, they're still mine. They're not like not mine anymore, you know? But now the new ones I get here, I can create like a space for, a shelf for, and that kind of thing. So that's gonna be exciting to do, and I'm excited to get back into it. But in conclusion, doll collecting is expensive. We all have FOMO. Sometimes you gotta take a step back. And also, the doll renaissance was just straight up dying, so there's just not as much to buy. And like, if you don't like anything, you don't have to try to fill that void and have to buy something else. Like, you just buy nothing, and that's okay. So for all those reasons, I was not a huge collector in 2024. Still a member of the community, just didn't buy dolls. And I just want to go over some of those reasons, and I think people can relate to them as well. But I am excited for 2025 and what it has in store, and even if the renaissance is over, that's good, because it means we have our wallets, we'll take a break, we'll have less to buy from stores, and we can really appreciate what we have. So thank you so much for watching. I've never done this kind of like chatty video before, but it was fun, and I'll do it again if the topic requires it. So thank you. Have a good one, y'all.